Max the Beast is here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today's commentary is on the new TF2 update. The Inferno slash Jungle slash Pyro update. Adding, it's like 6 new weapons, like 5 new community maps, and at least 20 contracts. Is this, the topic of this, is this going to be the resurrection of Team Fortress 2? Now, if you're that one person who's like living under a rock, or somebody who plays on console and never got to experience it, Team Fortress 2 is an online first-person shooter developed by Valve, who is also the creator of Steam, and who has created the very successful Half-Life series, and CSGO, and other games of that sort. The game was released originally in 2007 and has survived 10 years while still reaching over 100,000 players a day. So overall, after a decade, the game has survived. However, with the release of Overwatch in May 2016, the game's player base has slowly started to decay, to the point where it's become excessively hard to find a game. However, with the launch of this update, more and more people seem to be flocking back to TF2. As many people thought that eventually TF2 is going to come back. And it has, with a vengeance. While Overwatch is still boasting of incredibly high player numbers, and that more than likely won't change unless Blizzard does something stupid, TF2 is starting to climb back up. This update has added many different things that the community has been asking for, including a much-needed update to the Pyro, now making him be able to counter himself more effectively. Now the Pyro is no longer immune to fire, as there's a new weapon in the game that will splash enemies with gasoline, and when you shoot them, it'll do extra fire damage. And if an enemy Pyro gets doused, they will take fire damage for once. Which is pretty insane. It's a very big game changer for the way many people played Pyro. And in my opinion, it's a welcome change, as it makes Pyro feel less overpowered. But that's getting beside the point. My point is TF2 is starting to come back. Let's just start talking about weapons here, and about the additions that this update made that are making people so happy. The few people who still stuck around with TF2 after Overwatch's launch and the gradual decay of TF2's player base, they started wanting to see some new weapons, as they've been playing with the same weapons for years. There has not been a single new weapon that was not a reskin added in quite some time. In fact, the last one that I can remember were the alien-based weapons and the update added in fall 2015. So when Valve announced that there was going to be 6 new weapons added to the game, and that not one of them was a reskin, people were happy. People were very, very happy. Which started boosting player numbers again, and YouTubers had seemingly abandoned TF2 to play Overwatch and other games, came back and started recording videos again on TF2, including popular YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, Muzelk, who had made himself famous pretty much for his TF2 content. However, when Overwatch came out, he primarily played that and did videos on that, and his fans who are still playing TF2 were wondering where the TF2 content was. And now Muzelk is back into the world of Team Fortress 2. And same with a lot of these TF2 YouTubers, or former TF2 YouTubers, which is making their subscribers happy. They have been requesting the return of TF2 for quite some time, and seeing it return was a welcome addition for them. The game itself, how it's changed, is new balancing new balancing additions and fixes. The game, like I said, as previously mentioned, has changed the way the Pyro takes damage. Used to, the Pyro was completely invulnerable to other fire damage, so if a Pyro decided to take on another Pyro, he was going to have some difficulty. But now, thanks to this new weapon, Pyros can now take fire damage, and will have afterburn dealt to them, which will change the way Pyros play, which is pretty interesting. And it also helps balance out the fact that people were saying that Pyro was overpowered, as all of his weapons were incredibly powerful, and very few things could counter them. With the new weapon that you're seeing here, which is called the Dragon Strike, I believe, or Dragon's Fire, it shoots projectile, which can be air blasted, which is the game's form of a counter. You can air blast the fire projectiles back to its sender. That hadn't been able to be done before. Pyro does have another projectile weapon, which is the flare guns. However, you'd have to have incredibly good timing to air blast those. Now, with the Dragon Strike or Dragon's Flare, I forget what exactly it's called. Excusez-moi. Excuse me, it's called the Dragon's Fury. With the Dragon's Fury, it adds projectiles to Pyro again. And it behaves similarly to where a Pyro would counter a soldier's projectile or Demoman's projectile. And people were complaining that Pyro was a no-skill hero, as in most cases, there was a tactic in the game called W plus mouse 1 Pyro, which is when a Pyro would just run at people holding down W key and holding down the mouse button at the same time, making it so you just charge at people and do damage, and there was literally no way to counter it unless you were near the Pyro and could air blast them away from you. Now with this, it makes you actually have to aim with the Pyro's weapon, which makes it so that he's more balanced, makes it more difficult to play Pyro, which to me and most of the community's reactions is a good thing, as now Pyro can't be considered a no-skill hero in most cases, as now he has to actually aim, which makes him pretty fun to play, actually. I've had a blast recording a gameplay here. And I'm very thankful for their additions. Now, another thing that people aren't so happy about. Well, before we actually go there, let's talk about another thing that the update is doing that other games are not when they add new content like this. They are not locking these new weapons behind paywalls. Instead, there are two contract systems. One for there's a new animated short released recently, and there is a contract based off of the events of that short. And the other contract are Pyro-based contracts, where you have the ability to earn the weapons through actually doing well at the game, which is the way most games should do it, by allowing players with skill to unlock the new content, just by doing a good job. The way players earn the contracts is, as you can see at the side of the screen, you earn points basically by getting kills or completing map objectives. And then you have your secondary and third objectives, each earning you different amounts of HP, or of points. For instance, to get the jetpack that you keep seeing, called the thermal thruster, you have to not just score points as the Pyro, but you also have to, you can also, to get more points, extinguish a teammate with the thermal thruster by jetting right beside a flaming teammate, or blasting enemies with the thermal thruster, which, if you're right beside them with it, and then jetpack off, you'll boost them back a little ways. And by doing stuff like that, you get extra points. So, 6 contracts for the 6 new weapons. And 1 heavy contract as well for his new addition, which some people think is a reskin, however it does behave slightly differently than the other weapons. Which is a banana, pretty much. Tropical theme. But the way the weapons behave, let's just go through the list, okay? So first we have the Dragon's Fury, which is what you've been seeing me, which is a primary flamethrower that will shoot fire at people as a projectile. It has slower air blast, and its projectiles can be air blasted. However, if you hit an opponent that's on fire with it, it does a little bit of extra damage, or quite a bit, 300% extra damage, making it so 3 shots with the thing is enough to take out most enemies, and 5 shots will take out a heavy or an overheal demo. Next up is the Gas Passer, which is the weapon that I was talking about earlier. I don't actually have a lot of footage with the thing, but what I just threw was it. You throw it, it explodes on the ground, and opponents hit by it will have extra fire damage dealt to them. Very basic concept. And as I said earlier, it does have the ability to light other pyros on fire. Next up is the Tropical Banana, which functions like the Heavy's sandwich item, which can heal him when he eats it. It can also be deployed on the ground, healing about 35-40 points to anybody who steps on it. And the Heavy, if the same Heavy who throws it out, he will get it back. He won't just throw it on the ground and eat it automatically. No, he has to actually do an eating animation. Next we have the Thermal Thruster, which is the jetpack that you keep seeing. It has 2 charges and can boost the pyro into the air for a short distance. If you're close to a teammate and jump, it will extinguish the fire off of them if they're on fire. And if you're near an enemy and do it, it will boost them back a little ways. Finally, there's the Pyro's hand, pretty much. He puts on a glove and slaps people to death. That's all that there is to it. There's no other stats. There's nothing really good about it. It's just kind of a funny weapon, which I do think is kind of humorous, just slapping people to death. It's very interesting. It's an interesting choice of a weapon. But it kind of fits TF2's goofiness. And these weapons have actually been very well balanced, which has surprised people because they thought, oh, an update for the Pyro, what overpowered tools are going to be added today? No, they're actually pretty balanced. Now, to the question I asked earlier, will this revive Team Fortress 2? Well, for the time being, yes. Players are starting to come back, and it's reaching over 100,000 players again. While pre-Pyro update, it had maybe over 50,000 players a day, which is still pretty decent, but in its prime it was reaching over 300,000 players a day. And sometimes when there was an event, even more than that. However, ever since Overwatch's release, the player base has been slowly but surely decaying, as I said earlier. And this update is bringing people back. However, the big thing is what happens when the update ends, when the whole event is over. Will that just be it? Will people just stop caring about TF2 again and go back to playing Overwatch or whatever they were playing in the meantime? That's the question many TF2 fans are wondering, is how long will this good player base last? Or will the return in player numbers last? How long is that going to be? You know? How long is it going to be before players go back to playing whatever they were playing before once the update ends? And once the whole event thing is over? Players are wondering this, as they are tired of waiting ages to find a server, as that was the way TF2 was before this update. And they're afraid of going back to that. They're afraid of going back to waiting, in some cases, over 10-15 minutes to find a match, only to join it late. The player base has definitely seen better days. And people have the right to be scared I would be too if I was still a super active player. I still care for the game. I just play other games now, but the update, as it has with most people, has brought me back. The big question, one of the bigger questions of them all, actually, is how long will this event last? The developers, well, Valve has said that the update is going to last for 3 months until the first of 2018, which is pretty freaking good if you ask me. However, once the 3-month period is over, as stated before, people are wondering how long is this going to last? Is this just going to, is the player base just going to go back to the way it was before, right after the whole update ends? And that question is scary. And as stated before, people don't want to go back to waiting ages to play a game. People are scared of that. And in my opinion, if people really do care about the game again, they'll stick around. And even after the update ends, they'll still stick around and play the game. I play it mostly when I played before, I mostly played with friends. Now, I'm playing to try to get through these contracts to play with the new weapons. It's a hard decision, guys. Because I can't predict the future. It's a hard thing for me to say because I'm not a mind reader. I don't know how many players in 3 months are going to still stick around. But I do know is that for the next 3 months, people are going to be excited about playing TF2 again. People are going to want to play TF2 again. Which is good for the game again. Because if people are playing, it's positive player numbers. That's a good thing. And my opinion about the update itself, it's good. The update itself is very good. It's solid. It adds variety to the game again. And I look forward to seeing what the Heavy update's going to add, as it is rumored that there's going to be an update for Heavy with a similar style to it. Which makes me happy, as that means TF2's player numbers can improve once again. And hey, this is my most played game of all time. I have over 400 hours put into it. You might be saying, but Max, there's people who have over 1,000 hours into it, which is true. However, and you might be saying, well, what kind of gamer do you call yourself? You don't have more than 1,000 hours in any game? It's because I play on PC. We have multiple different kinds of games to play with. Anyway, jumping off of that topic. Yeah, I think the game's gonna stick around. It survived 10 years, I think it could survive another. Maybe not another 10, but at least another 1 or 2. And still reach an active player base. Anyway, guys, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, consider leaving a like. And let me know your thoughts on the update, if you have any. And please, guys, if you are new and you like the video, consider hitting the subscribe button. And hit the notification bell beside the push subscribe button so you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Guys, I want to thank you for all your support, guys. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit tired. It's because I am. It's just been a lot of work in the real world, a lot of life stuff happening. I've just been tired. But, guys, let me know what your thoughts on the update are in the comment section down below. And, yes, TF2 will be revived. Guys, as I said earlier, this means a lot to me that TF2 is coming back, and more importantly, that you guys are supporting me. I won't be able to get this far without you guys. And like I said, I'm sorry for my tired sounding voice. I'll be better later. I just need some time to recover. I have had fun making this video and talking about a few things, just rambling on and on about TF2 again. It's been nice to return to it. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling, as you can probably tell. And as always, Max is the Beast is out.